yesterday, everyone was freaking out telling you a stock market crash was coming. But again, we told you exactly what you needed to be looking for and everything in between. So you knew how to be ready and ultimately how sellers were going to get trapped on that dip. Now here on the day, you're seeing SPY bounce back pretty aggressively. This pretty damn solid, all things considered. When you look at the NASDAQ overnight, again, we do see some of that selling, but look at where you come into. As you can see here, let's actually just get rid of everything so you can just start fresh here. But you can see exactly where we kind of came right into that previous high right there, 25.4, and you're finding buyers right off that level. Again, this is the same story of what we've seen on the futures and the stock market in general. So I'll start with SPY and I'll work back into future. I think futures they give you an exact understanding of what's happening. And I mean, look at that buying pressure. You could argue the buying is stronger than the selling that we had from the past day or two. Again, you can't make this stuff up. So let's jump right into this and understand where we're at on as far as the charts are concerned and where we're going to be moving going forward. And was there any kind of fundamental news out there as well? SPY again, perfect test of previous all-time high. I mean, beautiful. You cannot make this up. Now, also too, guys, before we go too far, I want to say right now, if you want to see what we're trading, how we're trading every single day, the Discord link is down below for you. Again, we start with futures so you understand what to expect with the market. I literally gave a rundown with this last night. I usually don't do that, but I'm trying to make more late night videos for Discord as well. But again, there's doubts to the futures rundown. Technicals for all of our trade setups. Only took one trade so far in the day for myself. As far as options are concerned, futures, you've had a lot of setups there. None of the swing trades here. Watch list as well. You can see what we're trading there. But again, no pressure. Links down below if you're interested. You get to see all the trades, everything in between. It is all there for you. So again, let's get to work. I also want to recommend following on Twitter so you get all the updates there. So you're going to see as we see news coming in, as we see charts we want to post, it's all there for you as well. So again, we have a lot to talk about. Now, as far as fundamentals are concerned, there's really fundamentally nothing going on. I don't think there's anything that's changing anything across the board. You did have some Fed speakers and you've gotten different kind of, I guess, viewpoints from the Fed all week from everyone kind of yapping and talking. The one thing that we're seeing here is that, a lot of Fed members are coming in, and this is one of the guys that Trump put into the office of the Fed. And it's worth mentioning, look at his tone. I want to get to the destination for rates faster than others. He also said that we're too restrictive. And again, it's very important to understand what is going to happen in January. Now, again, let's say that we don't get rate cuts in December and we see more of a dip and more selling on the economy. This is the type of person Trump is going to put in the Fed office, in the Fed chair. You need to understand that, okay? And this will cause the market to rally and cause buying and be an ultimate buying catalyst for the market, whether you like it or not, whether you want to admit it or not. I don't care. It's just the facts. So we need to understand that. So that's the only thing that's really coming out is Fed members talking, being pretty bullish out there. The other side, I think most of this is just a technical movement on the market. I had a lot of people saying, hey, Tyler, do you think this was an over-exaggeration? Do you think that what's happening in the market, is just an overreaction? I'm like, guys, what are we talking about? You're doing the same thing we've been doing. It's very important to understand. And this is the things that I keep trying to say is you need to understand how the market's moved in the past, how it's most likely going to move in the future. And the very definition of a bull trend, I've said it so many times, is higher highs, higher lows. Very definite. There's no mixing that up. There's no, miscommunication. That's the simplest way to identify a bull trend. And you are in a bull trend, okay? And not only are you in one, you are just mounting previous all-time highs on repeat, right? I want to make this really clear. Just previous all-time high, mounting, previous all-time high back here, mounting, previous all-time here, mounting, previous all-time here, mounting, previous all-time here, mount. I mean, it's the same thing over and over and over. So stop, overcomplicating this. Now, as far as levels to be watching right now, again, this was the main level down here. It's, 672, 673. You found buyers, 674, give or take that level there. You're trying to bounce back up. QQQ. How does NASDAQ, how does tech look? Again, very good. I would argue it looks like you're potentially just bull flagging back into previous all-time highs, preparing to find buying. Now, a deeper dive of what we should be looking at is, well, how is the actual market moving? Are buyers showing up? Are buyers getting aggressive? Are buyers stepping up where they previously were? Because if I'm a betting person, what I would be looking at is, again, from my logic, trying to explain that rationale to you guys, is if I'm looking at anything, what I'm trying to look for is if something has been carrying us and moving us over the past 2 or 3 years to the upside, I want to see if that same thing that's really maintaining the strength of the economy, is it going to continue doing what it's been doing? So let's, identify that. So again, we look at QQQ and you look pretty decent, but what inside of QQQ? Well, SMH semiconductors, again, like we talked about yesterday, you didn't really get the retest all the way down here at 349, but again, you're still bouncing back up. SMH semiconductors, XLK, the tech ETF didn't really get the test, but you're still bouncing back up and that gap to fill back up as well. So you could start seeing over the next few days, tech, semis really heat up, and you're seeing that here on the day. And again, it's funny, the comments, I'm not going to see people saying, oh, the market looks so great, it's this, it's that. It's going to be people saying, oh, this is a trap, this is so bad. Guys, I want to tell you something as well. Stop trying to time the top. Stop trying to time the bottom. Stop trying to time the top. Again, you're looking through a lens too short. Okay, you need to understand, slow down. Less is more, especially in this type of market. Very important to understand that. So again, we're going to be going down through some equities and stocks as well. Important to know that. Now, the one thing I do want to track fundamentally here is going to be more of the yields and what's happening there. Again, I think the market is anticipating it's going to be likely that we're not going to cut rates in December. I think that's personally what the market's pricing in here, that we're seeing yields obviously bounce far more than they did in the previous bounce of the previous cut back in September. Very important to understand that. Worth mentioning, you're seeing mortgage rates also get a little bit of a spike as well, back near 6.3% roughly. Again, we want to see mortgage rates get below 6%, start working their way towards 5%. In a perfect world, that's what we want to see, okay? Very important to understand that. Very bullish on that side of the market if we can see interest rates continue to dip as far as mortgage rates, interest rates, etc., which I think they will. It's just we might slow down in December and then heat back up in the beginning of the year. Okay. Again, what to kind of expect there. Very big, worth mentioning. IWM as well. Again, IWM gave us a little bit of a scare here, right? Coming back down, retesting that previous breakout point. And again, you have to cover IWM. You have to talk about IWM because again, it's one of the biggest metrics for risk on versus risk off. When you look at this chart, as you can see, this is going all the way back to 2020. The breakout that you had here, you topped out obviously in 2021, went all the way back down. And this is where you're at now. In my personal opinion, if IWM holds above 245 and it looks like it's trying to get that mount, this is a great signal for buyers and overall strength of a risk on metric in the overall economy. This is really what you want to see out there right now. So again, very good action, still looks really, really solid. Even with the Bitcoin happening right now, you saw that dip last night below 100K, trying to bounce back up. Now, again, I do think it's probably a decent buying opportunity, but I do want to say, as long as you are below the 200 daily moving average, I'd be very cautious. And you do have a death cross that looks like it wants to form out here. Is this, an indicator of risk off for the stock market? I don't really believe so. But again, I have to assume that Bitcoin will try to follow the stock market. It's just in a weird spot right now. I'd be careful, not looking at any options on anything related to Bitcoin as of right now. Maybe it's a big opportunity for me. I'm not really interested, okay? But again, let's go more into equities, what I'm looking at, what I'm looking to buy, where the biggest opportunities are. Now, again, let's start with the weakest names. This has just been what's worked the best for me over the past few weeks. So again, starting with the weakest names, going into Netflix. Now, it's worth mentioning Netflix has had some scares here. Now, this morning, you dipped down, made new local lows, bounced right back up, got back above 1087, and you're kind of just like in limbo here. Now, the level that I would be watching, these aren't levels, these are intraday spots I was watching and kind of marking out the previous 200-day moving average right there, but it's going up a little bit more. When Netflix can reclaim the 200 daily moving average, I'll feel a lot stronger about it. Until then, I'd be very careful. I also believe of all the earnings that we've had, I might be repeating myself here, but I think it was one of the worst earnings personally. And they have obviously like kind of a bad agenda going against them with all the woke and the cancel culture against Netflix. I would just be steering clear from the long side of the trade. I think this has a monster support down here at 1065, which was your previous all-time high from February of this past year. I want to see a retest, a reaction from that. That could be a potential buying opportunity. If you get below that, you have nothing, literally nothing down to 1,000. If you break 1060, I think you're going down to 1,000. But again, what I'd be watching there, be kind of careful. Meta, I think this is obviously the overreaction, in my personal opinion, as far as earnings are concerned. I think everyone's freaking about their CapEx spend. They're also freaking out about obviously their EPS miss. That was the real reason you dropped, was because of EPS. And if you don't know, basically their EPS came out poorly due to the fact they had to make a massive payment in taxes, but it'll never be that large again, according to Zuckerberg and the team. So again, worth mentioning. So Meta where it's at right now, I'd be very careful. The day trade setups are nice above 638. You could trade it back to 645, 650, maybe back into the 200 SMA. I'd be careful. Again, the 200 SMA is all the way up here at 680. Above that's where you get a lot more confidence. Down here, if anything, I'm looking at stocks, maybe leaps. Be careful. But below 627, and if you get weakness in the actual selling and the Nasdaq starts to see aggressive selling, you have to target Meta down towards 611, 610. So still be careful there. Good bounce so far, all things considered. Okay. Now, Palantir. Palantir is another interesting name out here that we've been tracking quite a bit. Now, the biggest level here on Palantir is 189.5, 190. Now, what is this level? If you zoom out to the 2 hour, you can see this is your previous all-time high back from August. Okay. Your all-time high there. You made new all-time highs since then, but this is going to be like your line in the sand. Now, if we look here, at the 1 hour, we can actually get rid of that spot right there. But you can see there's basically two spots you're looking at. Now, before we broke out and made new all-time highs, you kept projecting like 185, 184 over and over and over. And so far, you can actually see it's turning into from a resistance now into a support. And you're seeing really good hourly candles here right now. If Palantir can hold back above 189.5, you're looking back to 193, 190, that gap starts 195.5, and then ultimately back into 199, 200, and potentially into the gap fill of 206, which I'm not really targeting that. I've targeted more towards the $200 level, but what I'd be looking at there. To get aggressive on the selling, I would want to see a break and hold below 184. Below 184, I think this is going to be a magnet down to the 50 SMA and the 176 level. We have hit the, I mean, you can see we literally traded here in a range for God knows how long and really came all the way down to 170. This is more conservative, but what I'd be targeting, what I'd be looking at there, and Palantir is moving really good. So worth mentioning, worth watching. Also, Michael Burry, shout out. He is heavily short, dare I say. Very important there. Oracle did not get the test down to our gap fill. Did not get it. Now, if Oracle can hold about 250, you're looking to get back into 257. But again, I'm not looking to go long on Oracle till we get back above our previous highs of 260. That's where I get a little bit more aggressive. If we get back above that, I think you're pretty illiquid. You have a gap fill into 270, 272. This could be a nice trade, just minimum and conservatively into 270. Probably look at 266, 265, start trimming some of that position, but still overall pretty nice, decent little setup there. I'm definitely watching Palantir and again, or Oracle, I'm sorry. But again, pretty illiquid action. I mean, even here intraday, like above 251, you have room to 258. I don't want to trade though. It's just because that's where you get clearly strong. That's where buyers start to really take control. What I'd be watching there as well. Tesla, a lot of back and forth today. And again, this was one of the weaker names on the day. Like really to get started here on the day, Tesla was weak. It was not good, was not solid, right? So you came back towards 439, 440. You were showing weakness intraday, and then really got back above 445, and you were off to the races back above 457, looking for the gap fill to 467, 466 to 468. Again, really tough here. Looks really strong on the day, probably targeting 465, 463. Looks really strong. Continuation is what you want to see. Getting into the gap fill now, would not be surprised to get up into there. Above 471, you're looking for that all-time high push to 488, 487. Again, pretty strong overall. Apple, not really doing that much, honestly, underwhelming to say the absolute least. Again, just kind of basing in your all-time highs. I don't really have a lot to cover here. I'm not super interested. I'm going to tell you right now, steering clear for myself. Amazon, man, it's really tough because remember, guys, we were looking for this trade here from like the gap all the way down to here, and then you kind of push back up, rejected back down, and now you're kind of just like stuck here in between these two spots, and really this goes all the way down to 245. But you can see where we're at right now, so you can see that we're kind of just ranging here. If you get back above 250.5, even 251, you could trade this back into 254.5. I still think Amazon's a solid name. I think earnings were also really good, and again, I think earnings, the way that I look at earnings is you report earnings, and then I see which names reported the best, which names have the best outlook. And then typically those are the names that try to focus on upside, focus on the downside if they were strong, weak, whatever it may be. I think Amazon was one of the stronger names. So if Amazon gets back above 250.5, I like this back into 254. 253 conservatively, but again, what you're looking at there, but as long as you're in the range, kind of got to respect the range, can't do nothing crazy there. Crypto names are still very weak. I mean, they might be lotto plays. I don't know. It's tough. I'm steering clear. Coinbase though, 308, 305. I mean, looks like a buying opportunity down here. Looking back for the 50 MA down to 330, 333. Not too bad. MicroStrategy, man, this looks really terrible. I'm not sugarcoated at all. I mean, you're at a massive support, right? Basically lows of 2025 down here. 232, 233. You hold that, you look good, but man, I'd be really careful. Your big level though is going to be right here at 280, 281. That's your big spot. You lose that, we'll see. But again, where you're at right now, be careful what I'm watching right now. Okay, very important to understand that. Microsoft showing some inherent weakness here, which is really surprising. Definitely one of the weaker names on the market today. You are coming down into support. You can see that basically in between 510 all the way to 506. It's just been support, so you can't really do much here. Again, would be watching it. Get back with the 50 MA. Look good to 518, above 518. Looking for 525, 526. Don't overcomplicate it. What you're looking for there, though, very, very simple. Eli Lilly, dude, what a run. Let me tell you. Got back above 520, 525. Got into, 825, 820. Got above 860, and you went straight up looking vertical back towards all-time highs. Like back like we never left. Isn't it just insane? So again, can we get back into 970, 968? Trump did say he's gonna be having an announcement. I also post this on Twitter for you guys, so make sure you're paying attention to that right here. Yeah, Trump weight loss drugs announcement set for tomorrow. So head on a swivel, be careful. I do still think HIMS is a good buy. It's basically sitting where I started buying. I think I bought it at 45.2. So again, you're kind of just chilling here. I like it. Looks pretty good. Do what you gotta do though. But again, what I'm looking at there for myself personally. Okay, CoreWeave still really interesting. Again, where you're looking for this to dip into to find buyers down here, 105 to 104. 105 to 101 really. If you find buyers on there, it could be a great load up spot. You want to be really careful that you lose 86. This could come down dramatically, so be very, very careful. Giving you a for instance, Figma. Figma is getting destroyed. So again, don't fall in love with the trade. Understand where your stops are before you ever get into a trade, and know when a trade is basically over. And so everyone keeps asking me, hey Tyler, what do you think about Figma? I think Figma is a good company, but stock wise, the chart looks terrible. I'm not looking to rush in by any means. There's no reason at all for me to start YOLOing, getting crazy, or anything along those lines. The only mid cap names that look really good in my opinion, cheap, that are like relatively cheap. I think SoFi is still looking amazing. SoFi just chilling at all-time highs, basically just begging to shoot up. HIMS as well. I still think HIMS is a good dip buy. Tempest AI dipping down into like A77, our buy zone down here. I would love to see us into the 200 daily moving average to get aggressive. But again, what I'm watching for, why I'm watching it. This level here on Tempest, to give you an idea, is your big breakout point, basically 76 into $80. This is like your clear-cut SR on your higher time frame. So you can see that right there as well. Still watching the same exact stuff. Very clear, nothing to really like overcomplicate, etc. It's all there for you. Cloud names are still pretty interesting as well. Names like CrowdStrike. Again, you had the breakout attempt, obviously, and you came back down with the market. Still trying to hold up. Looks decent. I want to see a reaction of 517 to get aggressive. Until then, I'm probably steering clear. PanW as well, 208 is what you're looking for. Cloud looks like it wants to continue dipping here. Outside looking in, still looks pretty good. Have no position on them either right now. Google still looks pretty solid. Google back above like 285. You're looking for a push towards all-time highs. Still looks really solid. But overall, that's where we're at right now. You're seeing what you need to see from the market. You're seeing what you need to see from futures. And all in all, there's nothing really negative to say. I mean, this is very strong. You can actually see right now you're coming into a bit of a resistance here. On NASDAQ, clear as day, 25,865, 25,885 roughly. Can you get above this? You'll look really nice. You flip this, and in my opinion, what are you doing? And, people are going to hate to hear it, but, especially the bears, you're looking for a break, retest, and we're looking for all-time highs, right? Really ugly there, sorry. But again, what you're looking for, why you're looking for it, clear as day. The charts are simple here, guys. The charts are really simple here. You got buying where you needed to see it, and again, now you're getting the reaction that you wanted to see as well. Follow for more content. See you in the next video. Have a good one, traders.